In Isiolo County, Kenya, a farmer named Ibrahim dug 10 crescent-shaped hollows into land so dry and crusted it hadn't grown anything useful in years. He added manure. He planted seeds inside each one. When the rains came, brief, intense, gone within minutes, the hollows held every drop instead of letting it run off. That season, Ibrahim harvested 20 kilograms of tomatoes, 15 kilograms of capsicum, 50 kilograms of kale, from bone-dry earth, using nothing but a hoe and a shape. This technique is over 1,000 years old. Almost nobody outside the Sahel knows it exists. Today you're learning it. 10 demi-lunes. That's all Ibrahim had. A demi-lune is not a garden bed. It's not a planting hole either. It's a crescent cut into a slope. Open face pointing uphill, low embankment holding the downslope edge. Each one measured roughly 4 meters across. Compost mixed into the base before planting. Seeds pressed into the enriched center. That's the entire structure. Your worst plot could hold 10 of these by tomorrow afternoon. Before those basins, Ibrahim grew only what the Isiolo climate allowed. Finger millet, sorghum, varieties bred specifically to survive on almost nothing. Drought-resistant by necessity. Low output by design. After those basins, he grew tomatoes. That shift matters more than any statistic. Drought-resistant varieties feed a family through a bad year. Market crops, tomatoes, capsicum, onions, kale, generate income. They change what a farm can become, not just whether it survives. The World Food Program documented this pattern across Kenya after introducing the demi-lune approach through training programs that sent Kenyan farmers to Niger to observe the method firsthand. What they brought back wasn't technology. It was a shape. The physics are simple. Hard, crusted earth sheds rainfall almost immediately. It doesn't absorb. It deflects. A brief storm event, the kind East African drylands experience most, generates runoff within minutes of contact with the surface. The crescent interrupts that. Incoming flow hits the open uphill face. The embankment holds it. The pooled volume has time to push through the crust and reach the planting zone beneath. The compost in the base feeds biology that breaks the compaction from below. Two processes happen simultaneously. The crescent captures what falls from above. The biology rebuilds what was lost below. Ibrahim's tomatoes weren't luck. They were geometry applied to physics applied to earth that everyone else had abandoned. The scale of what this shape has already accomplished doesn't get discussed enough. Between 2014 and 2022, the World Food Program ran rehabilitation programs across Niger using demi-lunes and related microcatchment structures. They covered 233,000 hectares. Satellite data measuring vegetation greenness showed a nearly 50% rise across rehabilitated zones, even when annual precipitation totals stayed relatively constant during the same period. Read that again. The rain didn't increase. The earth simply stopped wasting it. In rehabilitated villages, water tables rose by around 14 meters over a decade. Wells that had been failing for years began producing again. Farmers who couldn't grow vegetables started growing them. Plots that satellite imagery showed as bare and spent began registering as productive cover. In the rural commune of Aliwa in Niger's Zinder region, documented trials compared plots side by side. Millet production inside demi-lunes reached 889 kilograms per hectare. Adjacent unworked plots in the same weather year produced 158 kilograms. That's a 5.6 times multiplication. Not improvement. Multiplication. Sorghum output showed a 3.6 times increase, 1,473 kilograms per hectare versus 405 on unworked plots. In Mali's Kita Circle, Farmers using the same approach reported reclaiming cultivation zones that had been barren for years. Independent studies recorded harvest increases of 60 to 100%. Moisture during dry stretches between rain events ran 30% higher inside worked plots than on adjacent unworked land. The technique didn't need better rain. It needed better placement. Here's the complete mechanism. Broken down simply. No engineering degree required. Start with the crust problem. Hard spent earth develops a surface layer that incoming flow cannot penetrate. Rain hits it and sheets off immediately. The faster it runs, the more topsoil it carries away. The more topsoil it removes, the harder the layer becomes the following season. It's a compounding cycle that worsens with every storm. The pit breaks that cycle at its starting point. Dig a shallow basin during the dry period, when labor is available and the surface is workable. 4 meters across for a full demi-lune. Smaller for individual planting basins. Open face pointing uphill. All excavated material piled firmly on the downslope edge, forming a low wall. Add organic material to the base. When the storm arrives, flow enters the open face. The wall stops it from continuing. The volume pools inside. It slows to near zero. At near zero velocity, even hardpan absorbs faster than the pooled amount arrives. Water enters the root zone. Below the organic layer, termites, drawn to the enrichment, begin opening further pathways through the compacted layer. Those pathways accelerate downward movement of both moisture and nutrients. After 2 or 3 cycles, the earth inside each pit looks visibly different from surrounding uncultivated acreage. Darker, softer, more structured. 10 to 15% of each captured event seeps deeper still, past the root zone entirely, feeding the local water table below. That's why water tables in rehabilitated Niger villages rose 14 meters over a decade. Millions of individual pits, each season, each pushing a small percentage of captured precipitation into the underground reserve. One pit doesn't change a water table. A million pits distributed across a landscape do. In Alila district in Niger, a multi-year rehabilitation project covered 5,765 hectares of severely exhausted acreage using these structures. Average millet and sorghum production on worked plots reached between 513 and 535 kilograms per hectare. In favorable years, they approached 1,000 kilograms. On unworked plots in the same district during the same period, nothing came off the land. The difference wasn't weather. The difference was whether what fell stayed. In Niger's Tahua region, an advanced version of the half-moon structure, positioned to capture flow from multiple directions, produced 639 kilograms of sorghum per hectare in its opening cycle. By the following cycle, that same acreage produced 2,159 kilograms, 3 to 4 times higher than standard approaches on comparable plots in the same precipitation zone. The earth was improving itself with each passing period. For any landowner with sloped, crusted, or exhausted cultivation zones in the American Southwest, the Southern Plains, East Africa, the Mediterranean, or anywhere storms arrive briefly and intensely and currently leave within minutes, the entry point is a single afternoon. Mark a slope between 1 and 15% grade. Dig 1 pit. Pack the wall. Add whatever organic material the property produces. Plant directly into the enriched center. Observe how that section behaves through the following dry stretch compared to adjacent unworked acreage. That comparison tells you everything. And across documented outcomes from Niger, Mali, and Kenya, the answer has been consistent for 3 decades. The rain was never the problem. There was always enough. The problem was placement, flat, bare, compacted plots that refused to hold what arrived. A curved shape in the earth changes that permanently. One afternoon, one pit, one season of evidence. Ibrahim's 10 basins produced tomatoes from bone-dry Kenyan earth nobody thought could farm again. The World Food Program covered 233,000 hectares with the same approach. Water tables rose 14 meters. Harvests multiplied 5.6 times. None of it required technology, just placement. The next video covers the exact spacing and slope calculations for laying out a full demi-lune field on your own property. How many pits per acre, how far apart, and how to read your own grade before you dig the first one. That video is linked on screen right now.